Pisces, welcome to your end of October 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Serena here. I thought I did your reading, but I guess that was the astrology. No, I really swear that I thought I did your reading. Oh well. I looked in my files, so I'm going to do this anyway because it gets too complicated. Okay. Some night problems. We got a night that isn't doing the right thing here. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Queen of Swords. And it's funny, I think I read this recently that the Queen, she's been through a lot and she's trying to she's trying to make a decision, but she doesn't want to allow her emotions to sway that decision. So sometimes this can be matters of the heart that have to be dealt with more rationally and not sympathetically. And Pisces, you are extremely empathic, extremely sympathetic to others. And if you're the one who has to call it quits, it's hard, it's almost easier for you to handle somebody else kind of kicking you to the curb than you doing that to somebody else, because it's just not in your nature to do that. And yet you may be forced to do that. Now I could just say, oh yeah, this is a man, these are man problems, because I have 3 knights. We've got the Knight of Swords that is in the reverse position, Knight of Pentacles, which I'm also reading as a reverse card, and the Knight of Cups. So unless you're a cougar who's involved with a younger man, I don't know. I'm not going to just read them literally as these kinds of cards. But what that can, the Knight, I don't really care about chronological age, because I have decided, and of course I've read this as well, that let's say I got a King of Swords or a King of Pentacles or something like that, that person is mature, King of Cups, that person is mature. And a person can be mature and be younger than you. So, that has no real bearing on any of this. And so I don't want to make it about a relationship, although we do have the Lover's card. So this might very well be for a lot of people where this is happening. But anyway, you can look at it for any kind of decision, even like a sibling that you have to cut ties with. In the past position, we have the Moon card. The Moon card is actually connected to Pisces, believe it or not. And I say believe it or not because the Moon rules Cancer. So why shouldn't it be Cancer? But it's because of what this particular tarot card represents, which is deception, which is insanity and addiction. And these are the qualities of Neptune that are on the more negative side. But it's also the positive sides, creativity. And that could be what this decision is. That are you going to be rational about your, where you are right now in terms of making decisions on career matters? Because perhaps you have been a person who has been doing creative types of things, and now you feel like I have to, I don't know if it would be that or doing something intellectual and wanting to get more into your creativity. That would make more sense to me, because even though the Moon is in the past position, it might be the recent past where you have kind of gotten once again in touch with your artistic talents, which a lot of Pisces are just, they're just natural born artists, or perhaps even like somebody doing something spiritual for their career choice. That could certainly be a Pisces as well. Maybe you are a Reiki practitioner, or you want to be. Maybe you are somebody who works with sound healing, using gongs and using, singing bowls and things like that. I mean, there are so many different things, or a yoga teacher. And that is really where you're at, but you're doing something intellectual like teaching, or I don't know, I was going to say writing, but how many people are actually doing writing? Maybe I have as a higher message here the Knight of Swords in the reversed position, and that's a card associated with teachers and lawyers and writers. And so perhaps that is the thing you chose, but you were never aligned with that, because a lot of Pisces are not logical. You're very, you can be very, I was going to say abstract, but it's more like surreal or fantasy laden. And that's what makes it so good for imaginative things. And these professions demand preciseness, precision. They don't allow for the person's own creativity to shine through a lot of times, especially nowadays. Like, for instance, teaching, it used to be that the person could, create their own lesson plans and do things their own way. And a lot of times they're kind of forced into things. So you may feel this sense of like you're in your mind, but your heart isn't really in it. In terms of relationships, there may be somebody there who is not being honest, who's being deceptive. And Pisces can be deceived. You can be somebody that is easily deceived. Why? Not because you're stupid, because you are very kind-hearted. You want to believe the best in people. You're not naturally suspicious. You're naturally trusting. That's why in the tarot, in the minor arcana, the Page of Cups is connected to Pisces. And there's a fish jumping out of the cup, because it's like the child, the heart of a child. And the child trusts. And that should tell us something about where our original impulses are located. It's in favor of trust, not mistrust or whatever, if it's distrust, mistrust. And that's so there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the world is not aligned with that vibration sometimes. But that doesn't mean that somebody is wrong for approaching life from a position of trust. So anyway, the card that crosses you is the Knight of Pentacles, which is the card of, this is Taurus. So if that rings a bell to you, anybody who's a Taurus, who's not really a good influence on your life at the moment. But this energy is about what is, you could call a plodding energy. Wash, rinse, repeat when it comes to work. That kind of like going, getting the money, coming home, doing that whole 9 to 5, the hamster wheel. And it's kind of like being on automatic with that when it's in the challenge position. Not to say that there's something wrong or bad with having a good work ethic, going in and doing it, but this person may have no imagination, and they may have no other dreams in life besides just kind of making money and just amassing money. If this is a person that you have been involved with, you may realize that they are not really your type, that you're not really aligned with them. It's possible you have a child with them and you feel like obligated, but you just don't have that emotional connection. The moon, like if we look at it through astrology, the moon is your emotional nature. And the emotions of a water sign like Pisces are especially heightened and first and foremost in your life. Other signs, like if you were an air sign, like Gemini, the sign I just did, you might be like, hey, I don't really care so much about if I love this person, but do I get on with them intellectually? Can we have great conversations? That's what I care about. So this person may be a good provider if you are with them in a relationship, but that's pretty much all that's there. There's no sense of this, you may not be attracted to their personality. They may be kind of boring to you. One track mind type of a person. And I'm not even talking about sex. I'm talking about money and things like that. And they just don't have much of an imagination. They're just not cutting it in terms of what you're into. And they may not support your interest because they are seeing life in such a narrow way that they can't value those things. And what else? This can be like something that happened to you where you got on that hamster wheel, and it's almost like an addiction or a habit where it's hard to like imagine the unknown, having some other type of way of being. Sometimes I think that certain people who tend to favor a very regimented life, it scares them, and that's not necessarily bad. I mean, even people who are of retirement age, I think sometimes refuse to retire because they don't want that open-ended day. That scares them. They like that sense of safety that they feel within a certain routine. And if that's how you feel about something, and yet you may realize that you're not well suited for what you're doing, understand that you can create a routine wherever you are, even if you're imposing it on yourself. I do think that Pisces people have to kind of tune into themselves to discover like what is best for them, because some of you may really feel more comfortable with a kind of like a schedule provided for you, and that just may work really well for you. But you can do that and still do the kind of work that is more well suited for you if you feel like you need to make a decision about this area in life. What is coming in is represented by the Lover's card, and this is a card, yes, of course, it can be about some kind of a love situation, but it can also be a choice that you're making. Interestingly, at the end of November, this card connects to Gemini, and there will be a lunar eclipse in Gemini that's going to hit your 4th house of home and family. So that could be like something that triggers within you other decisions that have to be made as well. So that could, affect your job, right then and there, if you're moving house, for instance. So these areas are being affected because your 10th house is Sagittarius, Pisces, and that is being hit by these eclipses as well. So that's the career sector. So these areas will be affected in the next year by these eclipses, by the north and south nodes transiting through these houses. And so change is coming. I should say perhaps, since I don't know for sure. Even if you are having eclipses, who knows if it'll really, register. But I mean, could happen in these two areas. And so even if you refrain from making a choice, it could be made for you in one way or the other. So just a little tip about if you want to control things more, make the decision yourself. But make a well-informed decision that's not based on emotions. That's not, based on sentimentality or sympathy. Actually, the Queen of Swords isn't somebody who's heartless. She has a heart, but she's doing something that is equal parts compassion as well as intelligent decisions. And then the outcome is the Knight of Cups. And this can be an offer that is given to you with the kind of sensitivity that you have been yearning for. So if this is a job offer, it's coming from a place that is very soulful and connected to you at that level. Also, so this may even be somebody who's an artistic partner of yours, because the Lover's card can be a partnership. And maybe they're like, you meet them on open mic night and you end up having a romantic connection with this person. Perhaps you've been with somebody who is too much in their head and you don't really have that emotional bonding. It's funny that I did Gemini's reading right before yours. I wonder if this could be a Gemini, possibly, if you're involved with an air sign. I don't know. The other air signs are Libra and Aquarius. Okay, that's what I have for you, Pisces. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.